Okay, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Today we are going to start our first class after the Eid, and it's going to be a continuation for the elements of tragedy according to Aristotle. Last time we talked about the plot, typical Aristotelian plot, and today we are going to talk about the character, or the tragic hero. We are going to start by linking this class to the previous class by saying that Aristotle said that any tragedy should not and must not show a very good character with a bad ending, neither a bad person or a bad character with a good ending. Guess why? Our sister here started by saying, yes?
Because it's not realistic. It clashes with reality. You can't have a good man have a bad ending.
Right. It's not realistic. This is a good reason. Moreover, if we have the major character as being a very good man or almost perfect person, and at the same time he is going to have a bad ending, this is going to be generating a sense of what? Injustice, anger. Why should this person who is almost perfect supposed to end this way? On the other hand, if he is a bad person and ends with a happy ending, we will say this is unfair. This is unfair, and it will never generate catharsis, pity, and fear. The same if this bad person ends with what? With a bad ending, a punishment. We would say he deserved it. We will be happy for his own bad ending. And therefore, what is required is actually a generation of pity and fear. And according to Aristotle, the type of the tragedy which shows or generates catharsis, particularly pity and fear, it will be a good hero with a tragic ending. A good hero with a tragic ending. So the first thing, he says the first quality of the tragic hero, that he must be good. Must be good. Yes, he will be punished. He's having a tragic ending. But at the same time, we can find reasons for this punishment, because this good man is going to commit a mistake, This mistake is going to lead to his own punishment at the end of the play. What I mean, that we are all human beings and we are subject to making mistakes. Every one of us makes mistakes, To err is human, And it is part of what? Part of our own nature. And therefore, at a certain point in his life, the tragic hero will make a mistake. This mistake is a fatal mistake. What do you mean by a fatal mistake? A mistake, which will lead to a catastrophic ending. And this is why we say that his goodness is not perfect, but he has a little bit of wickedness, like everyone, who assumes that we don't have a kind of bad qualities inside ourselves, or at least bad habits, bad thoughts that comes to our mind, But in general, what we can say, that his goodness is much more than his own wickedness, if we want to classify him, we cannot classify him as being what? As being bad, because every one of us is having these two parts, the angel and the devil, which is whispering in your ear all the time, insinuating to you to make what? Bad things, وَنَفْسٍ وَمَا سَوَّاهَا فَأَلْهَمَهَا فُجُورَهَا وَتَقْوَاهَا. This is what makes us a human. Or otherwise we will be angels. You understand what I mean? Right? And therefore, this what is the required from the tragic hero. His goodness to be much more than his own wickedness, but the mistake that he's making is going to be, right, the reason behind his own punishment. Right? He is true to himself. Right? Both good in his own intentions and actions. Right? Some people are good in actions, but they have bad intentions, and vice versa. Right? Some people, they might have bad actions, although they have good intentions. Right? But the hero here is required to have good intentions and good actions as well. Good actions as well. Yeah, but he commits the mistake with a good intention. Like every one of us, like the good people, like the God people. They don't have a wicked intention. They usually make the mistakes while they have right. والطريق إلى يعني إلى جهنم في العادة كما يقول المثل يعني right معبدة بالنوايا الحسنة. إيش المقصود معبدة بالنوايا الحسنة? That we usually make right fatal mistakes with good intentions. Right? Yes.
What do you mean by he is true to himself?
True to himself. He is being himself, not having double face. Right? Do you understand what I mean?
Not a copy of anyone.
No. I don't mean that. True to himself here, it means that he is right. His inside is his outside. We call it in English, his being is his own seeming. His seeming and his being are the same. He's not double-faced. He's not bad. His being not completely different from his own seeming, but the goodness inside is usually shown. The intentions is the being. The actions are the seeming. Right? Right? So his actions and his intentions are both right good. Right? Yes, sister.
So is his fate his fault? Because I keep reading in the book that his fatal fate is because his error in judgment and not his fight.
All right, we are not coming to this, right? The last one, which is the error of judgment, we are going to discuss it, right? But in generally speaking, right, in the case of Oedipus, right, that we are going to study, the mistake is not his own mistake, right? But he is having, right, another psychological problem inside his own character that led, right, for the destiny to be fulfilled. That usually say that Oedipus, it was not his own mistake. It was the mistake of what? Of the evil gods who destined him to kill his own father and to marry his own mother. Right? It was not his own fault. He was destined to what? To do this. Right? So this question we will discuss it later. Right? I mean that he could have accepted, right? Okay, or disbelieved in this evil destiny and considered it nothing. Right? And nothing would have happened. But because he's superstitious, because he's having superstitious thinking, he believes in these, right, okay, evil ideas, right? His destiny was what? Was fulfilled. So he has something wrong in his own character, right? Which is his own superstitious thinking, right? We will come to discuss that, right, when we apply to Oedipus. Yeah, but most, I mean, as I told you, most, all right, the faults of the hero, according to the great, right, dramatists like Euripides, Aeschylus, and Sophocles, they usually attribute the problem to gods, right? That it is not usually a personal problem of the hero, but it is the mistake or the injustice of what? The injustice of the gods, right? And this is why they were kicked out by whom? By Plato, right? Because, right, Plato kicked them out because they are saying, right, making misrepresentation of gods, right? Well, in this case, we will continue, right? I mean, the first one, which is being good but not perfect, right? Goodness makes others to sympathize with him, right? Likeness, to have likeness too. Likeness here is to be like us, not to be a superhero, right? For example, I don't sympathize with Batman. Although he looks human, but I don't sympathize with him. Do you know why? He's not a human person, or Superman, or like the Iron Man, or whatsoever, because they are superheroes, right? Yeah, supernatural, and somehow that in order to achieve these feelings of pity and fear, we must sympathize with the human beings. Human beings, they usually get old, they get sick, they get married, they have children, right? Yeah, but you won't sympathize with someone who is not like ourselves, right? The moments of weakness and strength, like everyone. So the other quality of being goodness is to be a human being like ourselves, not to be a superhero. And to be appropriate. This is the third quality. The third quality, to be appropriate, true to his type, to his age, to his gender, and to his social status. What do you mean by that? نفس الثلاثة. A woman should speak and act like a woman. A king should speak and act like a king. A little child should speak and act like a little child. But if I find a child who is going to speak and act like an old man, all right, he's not going to be realistic. He's not appropriate. He's not appropriate to whom? He's not appropriate to his age, neither to his gender, nor to his social status, right? The nobleman speaks with in a language that differs from the language used by a poor man, for example, right? And therefore, right, the character is required to be true to his age, to his gender, and to his social status. And to be true here, change the word true and they use the word appropriate. Use the word appropriate, right? So appropriate to his age, gender, and social status. Good, right? The last one, which is, right, the one before last, which is to be consistent, right? Consistent with what? With the laws of necessity and probability. And what do we mean here by consistent with the laws of necessity and probability, right? The character, right, must develop, right, in the track of the dramatic action, right? Must change, right, according to what is probable to happen and what is necessary to happen. So if he commits a crime at the beginning, he must punished at the end, right? If he goes into experience of new knowledge, he should be a different person, right? That we right, consistency here, it means that the tragic hero must, right, develop, right, in the dramatic action, right, depending on what is probable to happen and what is necessary to happen. Yeah, true to life. Okay, the last one, which is, we call it the tragic flow. Flow here, F-L-A-W, not O-W, right? But F-L-A-W. Flow here means mistake. There is a mistake in his own character. In his own character. Yeah, tragic flow. And this tragic flow might be understood in two ways. Right? Okay. This tragic flow is called hamartia. It's called hamartia in Greek. And hamartia can be understood, as I told you, right, an error of judgment or a miscalculation that is done by whom? By the tragic hero, right? I'll give you example from King Lear, the one that you are famous with, familiar with. King Lear, when he thought that his two elder daughters, they love him more than his younger daughter, right? He committed an error of judgment, right? Because he judged Cordelia for being what? Not loving him. And the two, right? Okay, it was actually error of judgment. And when he decided to divide his kingdom among his daughters, it was a miscalculation. He thought that he will rest like the king, the father, and everyone is going to respect him and he will live happily. But this was a miscalculation or error of judgment, because he did not know the truth about his own daughters. Right? This is the mistake in his own character. Another mistake also, right, or hamartia can be as a psychological mistake, right, inside the character. The character is having, like King Lear, he had a problem of pride. And this is a psychological mistake, right? Because pride is fatal. Pride is fatal. And therefore, right, what we can say about hamartia, that the hamartia is usually a mistake done by the hero. Either a miscalculation or an error of judgment, or having a psychological problem in his own character that leads to his own catastrophe at the end. Fine? Okay. I'm going to